these kind of top-notch acts each and every year. So if you can't make it this year, please put it on your calendar next year because it's a sensational event.
It's like he says, a 100-year anniversary, and I can't even tell you what we getting ready to do because whatever we do, who is that Johnny said, we're gonna make it funky.
One of the things, Al, of course, I give you your flowers, and you've always been open to me. And I know some of our audience, you've had the Bayou Classic now has fell off. The Labor Day Classic between TSU and Prairie View, when you had it back in early, it was at 25,000 then. Now it's back down to 15, 14,000. You've had the Circle City Classic that fell off. The Southern Heritage fell off for a minute. The Atlantic Men Classic has failed. You've also took Grambling up and sold out New York Yankees Stadium. You also are part of the HBCU Black College game and opened up the season up there in the Hall of Fame. What are some of the things that you've done so great that other guys haven't done? And I know one of them is the love for Black college football.
Well, the first thing you have to do, Johnny, and doing this for 49 years, you got to think outside the box. You can't take the same thing and do it the same way every single year, because you're going to only get a person attention, 1-2 years out of 5 years. And if I do the same thing, that means I might get them 1 year out of 5. I might, 1 out of 10. But if I do something different every single year, it makes it exciting. And that's what you have to do. This is the first time I've ever had gospel on the main stage. Now, everybody told me, are you crazy? But I went and got a guy named Dietrich Haddon, who is one of the top entertainers. He's the Michael Jackson, the Prince of gospel. I mean, the boy put on a show. He might be out in the audience and he might do anything, I mean, but you got to think that way. Big Daddy Kane. We've had a guy just told me a while ago, I wanted to see Ashanti. That's why I came to see Ashanti. We've had Ashanti. We've had Destiny Child with Christina Aguilera in the early days. Like you said, we've had Fantasia. We've had some of everybody that you can think of on that stage over these 49 years.
Yeah. You said something earlier about a promoter, and I'm pro promoter, and to the audience, why? Because he has some skin in the game, and he knows what he's doing. Instead of getting together in a room with some people, the English teacher, the math teacher, some VPs, and talking about, well, we're gonna do a game. And I know they want to know, how money shared. And I think one of the biggest things for you, Al, is that you ain't a gouger. You put your percent on, and then the rest goes to the team. And like you say, this is gonna be one of the biggest paydays, Campbell, for a conference game on both schools.
Well, you have to let the school make the money because they need the money worse than anybody to keep the teams to coming into this city. And if I go in and gouge them for money and think that I'm the reason, I'm only as good as everybody, the teams are, the bands are, but I know how to put it together. It's like baking a cake. If you know all the ingredients, you can make it work. But if you don't know the ingredients, baby, you lost.
Yeah.
The cake gonna flatten out before it get out the oven. It's gonna taste funny, But you use the same ingredients that your mama used, but you didn't know how to mix it. I can mix it.
And guys, y'all could jump in there with won't. But one of the things when I was a head coach at Texas Southern, I had went out and me and Al talked about not only Rocky taking our classic game, forget the classic game. Some people gonna come to that. People gonna come to homecoming. I'd ask Al, we were dealing in a contract. Take my whole home season. I want you to take my home season and promote my home season. You know, so not only are they gonna come to those games, you know, and he's gonna make those games bigger. They don't come to regular season games. And I
So,
think HBCUs, that's where we're missing the boat at.
well, let me ask Al a question. So you only take a percentage, Al, and you also front the money?
Yes, sir.
See,
Because the school,
that's the sweetest deal in the business right there.
Everybody should be knocking on his door.
Yeah, if that's your strategy, you front the promotion and the marketing, secure the venue, do all of that, and then you only take a percentage. That's a great deal for anybody. That's only thing they need to do is bring their band and their football team, and they get to take the gate. There's no deal like that ever in entertainment.
they take 76% of the gross revenue.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
coach. Yeah, and that's why I think where we fail at sometimes in HBCUs that we need people like Al. Not only can he come in, he can teach you how to do it. You know, get you going, get you started, and then teach your program how to do it. I see you over there writing notes to Miss Suggs, Campbell.
No, actually, I'm typing up some notes because I got some questions for Mr. Wash. But I'm letting you guys have y'all love fest because we gonna get on the business side in a second, some history. But I'm gonna let y'all handle that. So no, I'm getting my notes together.
Oh, hey, look, we ready for you to rock and roll. Mr. Wash don't have all day. He got a big game, and it's the largest HBCU classic in the world. Go ahead, Coach.
All right. Well, Mr. Wash, first of all, thank you for coming on. I grew up in this HBCU space, and you talk about classics, but I want to talk about your knowledge of the classic, which I believe you have, and also what it means in this new century. The State Fair Classic actually helped integrate the city of Dallas, because what they used to do is that and this happened in many states down south, the black people only used to get 1 or 2 days to go to the fair. So a long time black people in Texas could actually go to the state fair. Go to the fair was when the State Fair Classic, and it was only for 1 day.
It was on a Monday night.
On a Monday night, exactly. And then in 1960, they had a protest and a demonstration. And then they integrated the fair in 1961. So this particular class that you're promoting has cultural significance for black people, not only in Texas, all across the country. With that being said, what part of history do you allow to play into the class? Do you let the new generation understand that not only are they coming to the game to see football and to see all the best entertainment, but this particular classic helped integrate the South and what it really means, why this classic has to keep going on and keep being bigger and bigger?
Well, you know, and it's something where y'all saying, do I let the younger generation know? I take what they ideas and I implement them, because people that's educating our kids today, they don't quite get it. They educate them one way, and they've been taught to do it that way. It's the system, you know. But I take my son, these other kids that's at these universities, and find out what they want to hear, what they want to see. And like Johnny said, they not want to see the same thing. They can see that every week or every other week they play. They got every home game. Why would they come to Dallas in the numbers that they coming in if it's not different? You know,
Absolutely.
I got a gentleman sitting there right next to me, Dietrich Haddon, who's one of the biggest gospel artists, and his record just went in the top 20, and we sitting there brainstorming where he came in, and he's been in here a solid week, and he's been rehearsing. I took several different major churches in the market, and we put together a 200-piece mass choir. That's something. The reason for that is for us to be able to market in these churches, to
Mm.
make the churches feel like, okay, we part of it, you know. And he's been in here. We was at church last night until about 9 o'clock rehearsing for and it's gonna be stupid out there what people gonna see. I mean, and we're talking about now how we can do it and do it across the country in different state fairs across the country. And we can enlarge the attendance because these kids are spending money. If I bring in 50,000 people, to the game, what are they gonna average? Maybe $100 spending in there, 100 times 50,000. That ain't no
Mm.
chump change. Texas OU
Mm.
bring 94,000, and the public can't even buy a ticket. Only way you can get a ticket is that you're a student or alumni from Texas, Oklahoma. And
Mm.
that's the way it should be. We should be, if not selling out, we should be so close to selling out that Cotton Bowl that is unreal because of what you saying, the history of it. We got the city involved. The city generates money. They give us money. You know, they give us the stadium. The state fair generates money. The state fair give us the stadium.
Mm.
We all partners. Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
Hey, Mr. Wash, is Dietrich doing any radio hits while Thursday, Friday before the game?
I'm gonna let him answer that for you.
Man, I'm here to work. I'm here to work, man. I'm just
What?
honored to be able to work with Mr. Watts, man, a legend, and to be here and just learn from him, man. Because I see where we can take gospel music to another place, and we're here to redefine what a gospel artist can accomplish. So I'm hanging with him, man, getting all the wisdom I can get from him. Yeah, but I'm here all week, man, to do radio. I'm doing radio. They have me
It'll be a
scheduled.
phone hit. It'll be a phone hit. And so if that's something you're willing to do, I definitely can get you on a afternoon or evening show to do a radio hit for us. It can even be
Let's do it.
recorded if you need to.
Let's do it.
I'll give Mr. Watts information from Coach Cole if you don't mind, Mr. Watts, and we'll set it up.
Let's
Because
do it.
yeah, we miss you because you had I think missed your flight or something, and we wanted to interview you while we were there at media day. So
Yeah,
that's good that we can
that's
make
my
it for that.
my apologies. That traffic was ridiculous, man. I made it there, but just and it didn't quite make it. But
Yeah.
I'm here, man. I'm here.
Right. How familiar are you with HBCU? And I know you here for Al Wash, but some of it has to be the care for historically black colleges in this great classic. How much is that one reason why you took the contract and came? Can you tell our audience?
I think it's just incredible. I'm in full support. I graduated from seminary, William Tyndale Bible School, but most of my family, my brothers and my cousins, they went to several HBCU schools, and so that's a big deal. Education was pushed to my family. I just went the route of, being a pastor. I'm a pastor here in Los Angeles, but I think it's a big deal because I just think that we're able to connect with the next generation, and to push them in the right direction. And my job is to inspire, their faith, to ignite their faith, while they're pursuing their careers and learning and getting an education for the future. I like to infuse the faith factor because that's a big factor in being successful in life is staying connected to God and just keeping your faith up. So that's why I'm here.
Okay. Thank you. Campbell?
Mr. Walsh, you got two historic programs, Grambling State University. You talked about your relationship with Eddie Robinson. Prairie View that has been part of this classic forever. What do those schools and why those particular schools work so well at the State Fair Classic?
Well, it's not that they doing something that can't nobody else do as well, but they stuck with it and they got somebody that they believed in, and they've been with me for 49 years. And if it's working, what you gonna go fix if it's working? You're gonna buy a new car and you're gonna go fix it, and it's brand new.
That's right. That's right. I'm
You
not.
know,
Hey, Coach Al, look, one of the things that I remember I used to say, Al, why you don't put your game on TV? And how did this game last so long? With Prairie View, Gremlin has beat Prairie View almost 40 games to 10. And he said, it's because it ain't about the game. It's about the event. And that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Because everybody knew, especially in the 80s and 90s, that Gremlin was going to win the game. But you still have big, large crowds and all that. And that's because of the backing and the production of Al Wash, AWL production.
As a native Texan and somebody who has heard about the game his entire life, I'm 54 years old, Mr. Wash, so I've been hearing about this game my entire life. I've only had the pleasure of attending twice. But no one ever talks about the game when they describe the experience of being at the State Fair Classic. It always is something else that kind of steals the show. But I think we're at a point in HBCU sports where the football game now is a large part of the show. Do you think that now will help attendance?
oh, no doubt about it. It would help attendance and what sports is doing and these colleges are doing on TV. They get more exposure like they've never gotten before. So it used to be that it was just one or two colleges, or the Bayou Classic was on TV. They didn't know nothing about other classic games. A lot of people in this part of the country didn't know about Circle City. You know, but and it goes back to a lot of people had never heard of the Space City Classic. That was Texas Southern and Grambling in Houston. There's classics that have been around and was doing well, and somebody stepped in and destroyed them. You know, and now it's time for us to get them back on track. You know, and it's not just about the money, even though I'm in business to make money. Don't get me wrong, y'all. But if I'm not making money for these schools, they're not gonna have me around.
Yeah.
But can't
Sometimes.
nobody, I don't know
Mhm.
nobody living today that have promoted more classic games than me. And I'm pretty good at what I do, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me
And
ask
just
you this, Mr. Watts. Have you ever done any games in like Indianapolis or Cincinnati? My wife is
Ne-
from
ne-
Ohio.
Never done a game other than
the
the NFL
HBCU.
Hall of Fame
Yeah.
Classic
Yeah.
in Canton, Ohio,
Yeah.
and that's something that I started over there, and we started with Grambling, and Grambling in Tennessee State, but it's a tough market, you don't have the HBCUs in that area of Ohio. It's like Ohio State. Everybody know Ohio State. That's all they know is Ohio State. But it's
Mhm.
more than just Ohio State.
Yeah. 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 One of the things I'd like to go out, like Texas Southern in Grambling, was the first football game sold out in the Astrodome. And if you know anything about the Astrodome, it was the first dome built. Grambling and Morgan State sold out Yankee Stadium. Uh, you know, and so those are things that have been going on back in the day, but we killed them. Just like the Southern Heritage Classic, when I was at Tennessee State, we played Jackson State. You got 50,000 in there. Now, it's down to 30,000. Because and they broke the game up. Now Jackson State don't go there. I just believe some of it is tradition, just like the Turkey Day Classic, which is one of the oldest classics. But like I said, somebody got involved and didn't understand the magnitude of it. Now Alabama and Tuskegee, the game ain't like it used to be. I had opportunity to perform in that game as well. And then the Circle City Classic out in Indiana, When I was at Southern, we played out there, but we played a North Carolina A&T team. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in tradition, but sometimes the wrong people get in there and start mixing things up and messing things up. And it kills and has killed a bunch of the classics that were real meaningful, not just about the money, but real meaningful to a bunch of alumni and people that give money. So we need to try to get those things back going. And I guess the other thing is about now is TV revenue. I think that's the biggest thing going on now. Well, Al, we ain't gonna hold you long. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. I know you're running around with your guests. I appreciate it. I look forward to hearing those big numbers. And as I always say, it's the greatest game or greatest classic that's going. Hey, can we play Al's intro as we go out?
Absolutely.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Buffer. Our great nation is shared by the biggest fights and rivalries of our lives. Muhammad Ali versus Smoke and Joe Frazier. Iron Mike Tyson versus Michael Spink. Floyd Money Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. And Grambling State University versus Prairie View A&M University. The state of Texas versus the state of Louisiana. The world-famed Tiger Marching Band versus the Marching Storm. Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. Let's get ready to rumble!
Coach, any last words?
But thank y'all, and I appreciate you. And let me tell y'all something.
You might want to can you repeat that, Mr. Watts, because you cut out.
Man, we missed that. We really wanted that.
Yeah.
Is he still on?
Yeah, I mean, he's showing connected, but I don't know if he can hear us because we can't hear him.
Okay, he checked out.
All right, Mr. Watts,
coming
can
up.
you hear us now? No, he may be gone, guys. Hey, but we had a big week in HBCU football, man. So are we going to get to it?
Let's get to it.
All right. Look at here, guys. These are some of the games. We can just look at some of these. And then the big games, I got them isolated on a screen by themselves.
So the church is closed this trip. Nobody needs no prayers.
No, listen. We probably need to integrate. As a matter of fact, we can integrate a prayer right here because one of the games that for a team that definitely needs a prayer is Bethune-Cookman because they lost to Clark Atlanta 38-37 on a 55-yard kick by an HBCU kicker, a freshman.
Clark was down 34-14 at halftime.
So we are definitely going to say a prayer because them boys are 0-4, and those were a lot of people's sleeper pick. And now they are getting restless down there on that beach. David Wright went for 49, 374 yards, 4 touchdowns. And like you said, Coach, went crazy in the second half. And willed that team to victory and made the game, basically the game winning play to get them down to get that field goal, which was utterly amazing. This was one of those games as I was watching this game. And the thing about it is Bethune-Cookman's quarterback, Cameron Roberts-Ransom, was the SWAC player of the week offense because he went for 22 of 31 for 382 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you had a great quarterback battle. But this was a thing that once again, and Coach, you know this, the attention to details. Cameron Ransom got a penalty, which pushed them back, which they missed a field goal, which actually probably cost them the game. Coach. So these are the things when I'm sitting up here. So, yeah, definitely a prayer goes out to Bethune-Cookman because this is not how they wanted their season to start.
Wow.
Coach Cole, let me ask you this because I know your protege is the head coach and your brother is a defense coordinator. what does that victory mean for that program, Clark Atlanta, who is a perennial loser, like you said? What does that victory mean?
Coach, this takes Clark and put them on the map. And you're about to see an explosion. You know, and what we always talk about, Rocky, some of these places, what they need to hire?
A winner.
A winner. And winning in the city of Atlanta, and you sitting right there in the Mecca, Coach, and they sitting at 3-0-1, and they're gonna go down the lane this week. And I think that they should beat Lane if they don't go down there and lay an egg. I just think they're just so talented. This is big for Coach Keaton. This is big for Clark University. Guys, you got to understand that this school has only had one winning season in over 35 years. We ain't talking about a championship. We're talking about winning 6 games out of 10. They've only did it one time in 35 years. So to sit at 3-1, you got Bethune-Cookman. This is huge. And then you talk about a Clark team that last year didn't win no game. Year before that didn't win no game. Year before that. And you talking about a team that this is one, and if they keep going, it's going to be one of the biggest turnarounds in history. They also got on national TV, Joey Galloway gave him one of those tags on the helmet. You know, so
wow.
This is big, man. This is big. This Division II team jumped all over 118. It's exciting. I look forward to calling their game in about 2 weeks up in Ohio. And Coach, they doing this on the road, Rocky. This ain't at home.
They riding the bus.
Home game.
They riding the bus, Coach.
Coach, they went to Florida Memorial, 15 hours. Turn back around the next week and go to Bethune for 10. Coach, that's crazy. And be able to get off the bus and perform at this level, man, you got to take your hat off to Teddy Keaton and his coaching staff for having them prepared.
And let me ask you this, Mr. Campbell, since you're the historian of HBCU football, and also specifically Florida, right? Has the Bethune-Cookman program been any lower than this in your lifetime?
Well, this is the thing. Bethune-Cookman, and it really what Bethune, and this coach knows this. When FAMU is down, that's when Bethune is up. When FAMU is up, that's when Bethune is down. And we're in one of those eras. FAMU is up, and because what usually happens is when FAMU is down, then Bethune starts getting the players that want to look for an HBCU in Florida. And that's why they went on a very nice run for 7-8 years. Actually won the conference, I think, twice.
They won it 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. There you go. So again, with FAMU rising back up, but what I am shocked about, and again, you can see the talent on the team. They had a quarterback that threw for 382 yards. Now, I understand it was Clark and the defense, but the point of it is you saw talent on this team. But there again, and we're going to talk about this, I think, a little bit later when games. But this goes to show me a lot of these transfers that all these teams are getting are just not producing because they do not have the continuity to understand how to win games. And we're kind of seeing that in some of the big name programs. It's happening at FAMU. It's happening at Jackson State a little bit. And then clearly Bethune, where they brought all these players in that they should be better, and then they lose a game like this.
Well, you know, speaking to my brother about the game and how he defended the left-hand quarterback at Bethune, instead of bringing pressure to his left side, he brought pressure to his right side. And the kid had a hard time completing those same passes he completed in the first half. That's what you call strategizing. That's what you call coaching. And that's what older coaches bring to these coaching staffs that some of these teams doesn't have, is you got to bring some seasoned coaches on there to teach the young coaches. But Coach Keaton does a great job in putting together a masterful coaching staff.
Hey, and another game I want to mention on here, Coach. Y'all mentioned that that Eddie George is kind of in a make or break year, and he traveled down to Tennessee Tech and and lost the game 24-14.
I want to use this game. I'm sorry, but I want to use this game as why North Carolina A&T is going to fall the same way and doing the same thing. You got to be ready to go play, and I'm going to say it, these PWI schools. The first and foremost and most important things about playing PWI schools is discipline. If you don't have discipline, 9 times out of 10, you're going to keep seeing this. And if you see all of it, you know what I mean? Richmond beat Delaware State. Nicholls State beat Valley 66-10. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got a Norfolk that beat VMI. Thank God. And evidently it must be a real bad VMI team. You know, I've coached against these PWI schools. You got to be disciplined. You got to be strong in that weight room. And you got to be winning at least 2 parts of the defense, offense, and kicking game. And Tennessee State's record in a what they call it, the Big South now, Coach, they hadn't even won over 6 games since he's been there in that conference. From the conference team, not outside team, from the conference team.
Wow. So let's go to our next slide. And we got some what I consider to be some surprises here. One surprise I'll point out is Texas Southern playing a nip and tuck game with Lamar. Alcorn not being competitive to McNeese.
We need a prayer.
We've got, go ahead, Rocky.
And then Howard, for the most part, they weren't very competitive, even though it's just a 7-point game. I didn't see this game being very competitive when you look at what the score was early versus what it was late. I didn't see that game as being very – it seemed like Hampton had control of the game the entire time. So you guys – what do you guys think?
Well, Alcorn State need a prayer. And to get beat by McNeese 42-14, and McNeese was 0-11 last year, 1-9 or 10, and they barely got past Southern University if you watch the game. And you know, you've seen all the turnovers and stuff that Alcorn. So I didn't expect a McNeese team where they are now to beat the Alcorn team 42-14. That says something about Alcorn State. And we got to face the fact that we might have jumped the gun on Alcorn State. But we will see. We're in the middle of the season. You know, conference play is about to kick in. Anytime Texas Southern plays somebody close, that's a feather in their cap. Now, if I'm going to give out any moral victories, I'm going to give them to schools like Texas Southern, you know, Mississippi Valley, you know, those perennial losing programs. To beat Lamar ain't a real big deal, but to play solid football and you're not getting blown out, it shows sign of improvement. And that's what you want to see when you have a new coach. Okay. We'll see next week when Texas Southern play Jackson State really right where they are or where they should be. And if they lose that game, which I think is a counter, now we're in about a week or two. If Grambling keep rolling, we could start giving the West Crown to Grambling State.
Now I want to ask the Rattler about this, what he thought about the Florida A&M against Troy. A competitive game. The score ended up being, you know, it got out of hand late, but for a lot of the game, Florida A&M was in the game. What did you think overall in their ability to compete in that game against Troy?
Well, this is what goes back to what I'm talking about, the players that you recruit from the Power 5 level. Florida A&M brought in about 28 players from the Power 5 level. So you believe that there is a level of talent consistency there. The halftime score was 14-9. FAMU missed several opportunities to score. They moved the ball. Davidson threw for 288 yards. So again, he showed once again, no turnovers, no touchdowns. But once again, Florida A&M, which we saw at the South Carolina State game specifically, is that we did not execute on scoring touchdowns. And I know that is something that I know Coach Henry and Coach Cole has got to be driving them nuts. Because basically, and Coach, you know, it's kind of like they're going from the 22 to 30. So they get all those empty calorie yards. but they're not going past the 30 to get a touchdown or even get in the red zone. So there are things, as far as execution-wise, that I saw that I think that, and not being funny, and I hate to say this, but FAMU's game has been canceled. I think this is going to benefit FAMU, having another off week, to be honest with you, just to practice to get ready for Alabama State. Because I think what you see in the offense, you see spurts of talent. You see the running game getting a little bit, then it stalls out. You see Gassick going off. You see Richardson, but they're not putting the ball in the end zone. So I think for Florida A&M, with the level of players that they have, there's a level of consistency that it just not has happened in the 4 games that they played. So for me, the moral victory is no, we didn't get blown out, but I also saw opportunity where literally, honestly, we could have won this game.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Troy is a Division 1A program, and they are a feeder school from Auburn. Being at Alabama State, we played Troy as well, and they've always had a good program. So we can't give a tag to Florida A&M for playing them tough. But we picked this, and I wanted to move over. We picked this Howard and Hampton game. We felt that Hampton would win this game and win a close one. Austin P is another PWI that we used to play against down there in Clarksville, Tennessee. Again, another team from the Ohio Valley Conference, which jumped all over Alabama A&M. That's another prayer, Coach. Because
listen, that U-Haul, I have told the people at Alabama A&M, I sent them a coupon for the U-Haul, and they are dodging a bullet by not playing FAMU. Honestly, they are dodging a bullet. So that is also going to benefit them. But you know what, Coach? I really want to talk about 2 games here on this list. I want to talk about Alcorn and McNeese. Alcorn believed they were going to win this game. They beat them last year. They felt good about it, but McNeese went for 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing. Yeah. So again, there is something going on defensively for Alcorn, and we already know that they've been having issues with the quarterback position that is not executed and scoring points. So Alcorn, there is a big question mark there. Now, you know what? Again, we got to give Coach. I think sometimes we're a little bit of good luck because when you come on this show, good things happen other than for our coach, Bubba McDowell down at Prairie View, because I'm going to have to say a prayer for them because we're going to definitely get to that slide. But, hey, man, Chris Dishman's got those kids playing at Texas Southern. And his demeanor, again, a lot of people they wanted to see the rah-rah and all that and the high plateau. But, hey, man, Chris Dishman is coaching like he played. Hey, man, I'm just going to be consistent and look like his team's playing consistent. The offense for the quarterback was not getting it, but they did have a great running attack. They ran for over 150 yards running in this game. They were up in this game. They had Lamar shut out, and Lamar came back and won in the second half. So, again, I'm looking forward to the Texas Southern Texas State game. That's one of the games that we're going to highlight going forward.
Yeah. I take my hat off to Coach Dishman. The one thing I like about what he's done is hired a good, mature staff, and that's important. It's his first year. He's still on his honeymoon. I like to see that instead of some, score out the box to say that he's moving that program in the right direction.
I just want to ask you, well, we'll get to that later, but about you say FAMU is not playing next week.
The game, this Saturday, they canceled because of the hurricane.
Okay. All right.
Guys, just one statement about Central Arkansas and Pine Bluff. And, last week when Texas Southern got beat bad by Rice, this is why I don't play. If I'm Arkansas Pine Bluff, what am I playing Central Arkansas? Central Arkansas got a much better program, offer much more scholarships. This kills you in your area of recruiting when you get beat 56-17 by a school that's right there in your state. I don't know if they got the money, but to me, it wouldn't have been enough. If I was going to take this ass whooping, I would have went somewhere else and
got it, huh?
I got some real money, Coach. But go ahead. I was going to say something, but I don't need to say that.
Hey, Rocky, one last thing on this last graphic on here. I watched the Howard-Hampton game. Hey, I'm going to tell you this. If Hampton was in the MEAC, they would be challenging for that title. They have run the ball. They got an outstanding offensive line. They mashed Howard up and down the field. They did the same thing last week against Norfolk State. Hey, Hampton, they look very impressive. We'll see when they go on the CAA play and see what they do. But I'm going to tell you something. I watched this game, and that offensive line and Chris L, once again, they executed. So I was really impressed.
My question is, can some of the schools in their conference make them exercise or operate in that other dimension? You know, against the last 2 weeks, they just refused to and hadn't wanted to, and they've been able to do what they want to on the ground. But if someone can, you know, control the run, I wonder, can they pass? You know.
Well, that's been the whole question about Zealous as a quarterback. Is he going to have the Chris Zealous again? Because again, in this game, he went 10 for 11 on through for 88 yards. So again, that has been the knock on him. Can he, if he needs to make plays, and actually not even plays, make throws, just to keep the chains moving and keep the team on schedule, can he do it? And that's one of the things that's going to be a question mark, and we'll find out as they get on into conference play.
Wow. You mean a guy throws for 11, only throw the ball 11 times?
That's all they need. That's all they need to do, Coach. When you run for 293 yards.
Yeah.
Or how do you need to throw the ball when you run for almost 300 yards rushing?
Well, I'm going to have a talk with my defensive coordinator because definitely I'm going to have 8 and 9 in the box. You know, so, but hey, look, that's another story.
All right, Coach, y'all explain to me how important this game is in HBCU football. Y'all let me know that this game was a rivalry, no doubt, between you know, these is two cultures clashing. It was clear on this show, Trey Oliver does not like North Carolina A&T. And we found out how much when the bishop made a mistake. And and so is there a point to be made here? Now, this is your rival, and y'all are on the same level. What does this game mean historically when you have a score like a lopsided contest like this in a heated rivalry game?
Well, let me just say, Coach, I just got to set you up because I want you to talk.
No, I was going to say, you want to pray now or later?
Well, I'm going to pray later because this needs an exorcism. But the score at half was 40-12.
Yeah, 40-12.
Okay. So I want to, Coach, go ahead. I want to just set that up as you get ready to give a little bit of a breakdown, and for people to understand if they did not get to watch this game, that at the halftime score was 40-12.
I want to work backwards from the post game interview with the head coach of the North Carolina A&T Central Aggies, and they asked him about the camaraderie of the game, and you know what he said? Oh, it's just a game. It's just a game. And Vincent Brown, you know, you being an HBCU man and a SWAT guy, you know that is the wrong thing to say. And if you don't know, you know, once again, how many coaches win out of 100%, Coach?
25%.
25%. Vincent Brown, I gotta say, you're not in that 25% because evidently you don't know the meaning of this game. This is state rivalry game, you know, and you guys are off to another conference, supposed to do some great things. It is not looking good for North Carolina A&T Aggies. It looks like another 1-11 season. You know, getting this beat. The game was over in the first half.
The game was over in the first quarter.
Right. I can't even imagine how the fans felt, Coach. At halftime, you down 40-12, and it don't even look like you're going to come back.
Now, I was watching some post-game shows about this game, and for whatever reason, it seems like the prosperity that A&T had in previous years was at the expense of North Carolina Central. And for whatever reason, North Carolina Central people feel that those men who ushered in that prosperity wasn't treated fair. And this is a compounding of that. This is what they wanted to happen to their big brother in the state. Can y'all kind of explain that? What's going on? Because I don't quite understand the dynamic, but there's something about when A&T was winning, they were using North Carolina Central coaches, and then they let them go, and this is what the fallout is.
See, North Carolina Central started off as a Division II program, and they moved up from Division II, and they used to play in the Eagle Classic. I had an opportunity to go visit North Carolina Central when I interviewed for the head job. So that's always been a big game. And it really is kind of like the Tuskegee Alabama State game, a great Division II playing a Division I school. So it has so much history, and there's so much rich in history about it. But to get these type of numbers, it's very, very embarrassing in North Carolina A&T. And I'm telling you, and I know you guys know, if North Carolina A&T continue to lose this way, I guarantee you the enrollment will drop. I guarantee you nobody will not go to those football games. And they were screaming about them traveling in Money Park. They're gonna have a real serious problem in the football program or in the athletic program of money, because believe me, that stadium will not fill up if you continue to go down this road.
Well, that's what's going to hurt the attendance to the football game. I think they've done a great job on the academic side as far as their own. But let's kind of talk about Trey Oliver and what he is building and has built at North Carolina Central. And to understand that this is a big disparity between these two schools as far as size, as far as money, far as just the general feel in the state. Like I say, A&T, we are the big brother. They carry themselves as such and things like that. But Trey Oliver that little brother has gotten to be bigger and badder. and not only is he bigger, he talks the talk and walks the walk. And when you have that type of coach, that, to your point, Coach, the converse, guess what happens? You get a lot of support from the alumni. They like that. They like when they go in those jobs, they see those guys, those A&T, T-shirts and things like that, and they can say, hey, man, you saw the game this weekend, and them A&T folks go the other way? Hey, man, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. So for me to really see what Trey Oliver has done and to make sure that this team was focused, they understood what the mission was. And again, we talk again, let's talk about Trey Oliver. We had him on the show once again, HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole. And he got mad at me, and I was giving the man praise all day because I said A&T by accident. I was helping the man raise money. He said, hey man, we're gonna get your Escalade stolen. So I like that a coach understands, because he was born an Aggie. I mean, born an Eagle. See, he gonna kill me again. Born an Eagle. Family is an Eagle. So he understands what this rivalry really means. And for me, and again, as somebody who had family going to North Carolina A&T, they are really going to have to look at themselves in the mirror, because, like you said, Coach, now what happens is everybody starts losing faith. People don't start believing, and it starts cascading to recruiting. It starts cascading to the players on the field. And then once again, do you want to go through another dark time when you go 1-11? For a proud school institution like North Carolina A&T, and I keep hearing them say, well, we can't fire Mr. Brown. We can't fire him because of the contract. Well, I'm going to tell you this. If you go 1-12 back-to-back, you better figure it out. You better figure it out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get any better for A&T because they play South Carolina State. And I think South Carolina, and that's going to be one of the games we feature, so I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. So it doesn't get any better. That's my point.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, here you go. Here go one right here. We kind of talked about this game, when we brought it up on the other screen. Anything you guys want to add to this and what this means in the overall big picture in HBCU football?
One thing about it, man, that wins championships is great run game and great defense. And right now, Hampton has that going, and that's a key to their success. Nobody didn't think that Hampton would be moving in this direction, but once again, That's in the HBCU realm. Let's see what they're gonna do in their conference. That's what's most important.
So, Coach, let me ask you this: if they beat up on the black schools and can't compete in their own conference, what does that mean to their overall program?
They should go back to the MEAC.
Let me tell you, working at Tennessee State, coaching at Tennessee State, we were in the PWI conference. I'll be honest, I didn't struggle against the black colleges, but it was difficult when we played black college football because of the things that they do. You know what I'm saying? And the athletes that we had at these schools. You know what I'm saying? So when I played in the conference, it was easy. We averaged, 38.5 a game in 98 and 39.1 in 99. But we averaged 45 against our conference. You know what I mean? So it's tougher when we were there, but I don't know. They beat these black schools or HBCU schools. Let's sit back and see if is Hampton for real.
Well, I'll say this here, Coach, and this is just my opinion. I didn't watch a lot of HBCU football in the 80s and the 90s and in the early 2000s and even in the 2000 teens. But I do know the guys who went to the NFL in those years. There was a lot in the 80s. There was still some in the 90s. In the early 2000s, there was a few less. And by the teens, and then we went to a point where there were no players being drafted in HBCUs. So there was a talent drain in HBCU football from when you coached in it and 2020 when nobody was drafted. I'll just say this. During that era you played, it probably would be fair to say that the HBCUs at the FCS level could have been more talented than the schools in your conference. Would that be a fair?
Without a doubt, Coach. It wasn't even close. I mean, even at Texas Southern, we didn't win, but we had 2 or 3 drafted every year, and then 4 or 5 go free agency. So I mean, we averaged at TSU. We averaged, Coach, at least 6 to 7 players that was going to sign an NFL contract. Within 1980, 88, and 89, and I don't want to get away from what we done. At Texas Southern University, we had 22 kids sign contract. That was the same year that Michael Strahan came out. Our center, Joe Birch, went to the Patriots. Derek Johnson went to the Broncos. Eddie Smith went to Houston Oilers. Will Moore played with the Jaguars. Brian Wiggins, Joe Rogers. All these guys went on the NFL contracts, man. So that statement you made, yeah, that was true. And I just don't think that we do get those athletes anymore. We just got to do a better job of recruiting.
Okay, I'll move on to our next one. Now, this was the upset of the week right here. This was the upset of the week. Considering the win and in the convincing fashion in which Jackson State beat Southern, and they come into this game kind of like, I mean, the Jackson State people were on a high that I can't really describe, and for them to get humbled in this game, I think it was unimaginable for some of their fans. And I'm kind of anxious to see what's going to be going on, what's going to be said at those mass meetings now. Considering they got beat, they didn't get beat by a touchdown, they didn't get beat by a field goal. Coach Campbell, they got beat by 21. What are your Jacksonian brethren saying about the Jackson State Tigers?
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go straight old head. I can always tell a Gen Z or millennial when they don't understand the magnitude of what this game was. And majority of these people that are on YouTube and they're millennials, and they don't understand the tradition of what this game really means. And I told everybody, and coach, I was on here last week. I said, this is a football game. Nobody's going to be talking about the band. Nobody's going to be talking about dancing people or anything. I said, when you play Grambling State University in the hole and Jackson State, it's going to be about football. And I call.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Monday, September 30th, 2024. Number 1, scores of deaths have been reported in devastation rains in the wake of Helene's unrelenting storms. The storm made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane shortly after 11 p.m. Thursday in northwestern Florida with 140-mile-per-hour winds. As it moved north to Georgia, Helene was downgraded to a tropical storm. As of Sunday, there were close to 100 deaths over 6 states, and 2 to 3 million customers are still without electricity. Number 2, tensions in the Middle East grew larger and more heated with confirmation that the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, was killed Friday during an Israeli airstrike in Beirut, Lebanon. The airstrike was not the typical attack, which Israelis described as deep penetrating bombs designed to directly hit the bunker that housed Nasrallah and some of his soldiers, killing them. Reports indicated that over the weekend, Israel braced for retaliation following the assassination, as Israeli defense forces showed no signs of slowing down as the attacks continued. Number 3, as recently as February, a positive rapid test for COVID meant 5 days of isolation away from work, school, and other obligations that involve going out in public. In March, the CDC updated its COVID isolation guidelines based on symptoms, not time, since testing positive. They now say that you're clear to resume normal activities when the following are both true, or at least for 24 hours. Your symptoms are getting better overall, and you have not had a fever. Number 4, Marcellus Williams, a 55-year-old black man, was executed via lethal injection by the state of Missouri September 24th, despite being proven innocent of a murder. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney's Office urged officials and courts to call off the execution due to racial bias because the jury's selection was majority white and the murder victim was also white. The U.S. Supreme Court, however, denied a state of execution on September 24th. Number 5, it's Ministry Monday, and reminding you that wisdom is the ability to make good judgments based on what you have learned from your experiences or the knowledge and understanding that gives you this ability. Proverbs 3:5 reads, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding." Christians prefer to operate through God's wisdom, which is a capacity of the mind that allows us to understand life from God's perspective. The understanding and knowledge that only come from a deep connection between one's inner self and God. Read more about wisdom in today's Ministry Monday column. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Joy is a choice. Each day we decide to focus on the good. All right. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with social justice contributor Coy Malone as we discuss the day's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Black Health Matters. I'm Sybil Wilkes.
My name is Danny Wilson, and I won $500 on the lunch break with AJ Jones.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.